just us monsters. Lucky for Banner I showed up, because he'd be a smoldering pile of ashes by now.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. Also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopses and character bios for these issues. So I have already covered these two issues before. Incredible Hulk 336 and 337 featuring X-Factor from 1987, written by Peter David, pencils by Todd McFarlane, and inks by I think it's Jim Saunders. So these videos, I've taken the original videos that I've made and edited them and put them together. So I tried to do my best to make it seamless, but I am an amateur. I don't do this full time, and I just sort of do this using a computer program. So it may not be in the, but I did the best that I could trying to get them edited. So you will listen to one video. I did these like 2 years ago, so my style may have changed that how I do the stories. By the way, these two covers are not by Todd McFarlane. The covers are by Steve Geiger, I believe. I could be wrong. But so these covers are not McFarlane. And these are early McFarlane's before he started to do the editing. So these issues take place after X-Factor 19, which I have covered on my X-Factor playlist. But I have the entire, a lot of the John Byrne and Al Milgrom and early Peter David, Todd McFarlane runs on a Hulk playlist. So feel free to check that out if you're interested in what happened with Hulk after or before this story. Feel free to check those out. And then I have an X-Factor playlist, an X-Men playlist, and a Wolverine playlist, and X-Universe playlist. I got playlists for days. So, like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. We are going to be looking at The Incredible Hulk, number 336, from 1987. And the Hulk takes on X-Factor. McFarlane is still not doing the covers, but he eventually does. I don't know what was Marvel's decision back then. He wasn't still doing the inks. He doesn't start doing the inks till issue 340. He's still not on Amazing Spider-Man at this time. So this is early McFarlane, but this cover is not by McFarlane. He does pencils the inside. So X-Factor, for those of you who are unknown, are the original X-Men in a group that is not the X-Men. So I have not covered X-Factor at this time yet because I'm covering the beginnings of the X-Men through the classic X-Men run. So it's going to take me a while. But feel free to check out the Marvel database if you are not familiar with X-Factor. And like I said, links are in the description below. So, we are in Gamma Base. And so, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Council isn't pleased, Quartermain. Not at all. Did you really think you could indefinitely cover up the debacle that this entire project has deteriorated into? So, Clay Quartermain is speaking to these men in shadow. You had two simple assignments. Keep tabs on Bruce Banner and get rid of the Hulk. That was all. And so Quartermain says, Sir, may I remind you in my defense that the Rick Jones Hulk is gone. I like McFarlane including all this technology, showing you a all these things here. So this is early McFarlane. Like I said, he is penciling. He is not inking at this time. So you may, Quartermain, if I can remind you that the Rick Jones Hulk didn't even exist before this entire mess began. His creation came from his plunge into the nutrient bath, which you assured us would would terminate the Bruce Banner Hulk, but did not. Another failure on your part. And Quartermain's like, but. Enough, Quartermain. We of this council will be releasing this situation. It is becoming clear, however, that that Bruce Banner is at this point becoming expendable. I trust you understand our meaning. That is all. And he thinks expandable. They can't be serious. And so, X-Tremes. So, I will be covering the Peter David Hulk run almost in its entirety. But it does begin with the McFarlane Hulk. And if you can even see from the time that it started, McFarlane's already starting with that brow that he had not, or didn't have at that time when he first took over. This is the Hulk. Yes, he's gray. Don't ask. At the moment, he's standing in an alley between two buildings. In his fury over his imminent change back to Bruce Banner with the sunrise, he has just struck one of them. In 17 seconds, that building will collapse. And you can see here, Hulk, it's not fair, and he's hitting the... So, here we have our credits here. Peter David is the writer. Todd McFarlane is the penciler. He does have an inker. But, you can see almost some of the McFarlaneism. You can see that he's they're not inking the way you would normally see inking. So McFarlane is dashing out, and the inker is kind of just following along. There's not a lot of the details there, but you can see it's really hard to tell you, but the feet of the Hulk are there. He always on that big toe, he always puts, I don't know, what would you call it, but he always puts in this bump right there. It does become a staple of his. When I draw the Hulk in full body and I get to his feet, I always do add that little thing right there. So the McFarlaneisms are there. You can see it on the cloth. So he's starting to try to break out. Also, you see a lot of detail that perhaps nowadays you don't necessarily see him doing. And I mean, when I meant details, I meant the details like showing you the building, the setting, the whole shebang. Although he doesn't draw that much anymore. You know, he's got that toy empire of his, and apparently that takes precedence over drawing. So, all right. So then we begin that countdown. And Hulk says, I should be the Hulk all the time. I'm the strong one. Why do I have to turn into, and you know, the countdown goes at 12, into 11. Banner, I'm Bruce Banner again, 10. So, like I said, you're starting to see some McFarlaneisms, even in his pencils here. And I'm not abandoned on a mountaintop or in a desert. My luck's finally changing. And you can see the building rumbling. And the people here, it's an earthquake or something, run. So everybody's getting out of the building. And he is hit. And they're like, I don't believe it. 7, 6, 5, 4. And I'm not screwing it up. And he's grabbing Banner. And picks him up. Good thing he weighs almost nothing. From the sounds of that building next to me, next door isn't going to last much. 0. And then you can see the building collapsing. Well, there goes the neighborhood, says this guy. Destruction is something that will be associated with Todd McFarlane. He does a very good job with it. So I like how he gives the guy a little bit of a belly here. He's breathing evenly. Must not have creased his skull. Good thing. He won't be worth a cent dead, I bet. Nah. Not it. It has to be a mutant. Nothing else could just change from being a gray monster into a 90-pound weakling. And I just know those mutant hunters in New York, X Factor, will want it. I've seen all their commercials. And they must pay some sort of finder's fee. 5, 10 thou. I bet they're loaded. And man, do I need the bucks. Should I call the cops first? Nah, they'll just grab the credit for catching him. Operator. He picks up the phone. It's funny. In the 80s, you actually had to dial 0 to get an operator. So, operator, I need the number for X Factor headquarters in New York. That's right. I said X Factor headquarters. So we got Iceman, Cyclops, and this is Jean Grey, who I don't think is called Marvel Girl at the time. I think she's just, I don't know. But the colors of the uniforms kind of follow what they were in the original X-Men when they first got not the uniform, but when they got their own separate ones. So they didn't all look like classmates. So okay, I'm ready. Are you sure, Bobby? Maybe it's a little too soon. So real quick on Iceman. He was involved in Thor. We have not covered that. I am covering Walter Simonson's run. We will get to what happened to Iceman in the Thor. I just want to let you know that he was in Asgard, and is it Malekith? It could be. I don't remember. I'll get to that. Performed some kind of experiment on him, and he just is having a hard time controlling his power. So Cyclops says, I'm certain Bobby is the best judge of his own readiness, Jean. And Iceman says, you got it, Scott. If I can't get my ice power under control, I'll be as reliable as Ivan Boskai. It must be someone from that time that I don't remember. I grew up in this time. I was probably 12, 13 years old when this came out. So, get ready, Genie. A nice, simple ice ball coming up now. And then he throws it. He goes, oh, no, that's no ice ball. That's a Buick. So the joke of the Buick is at that time. So the Buick does, the Buick's still around, but the Buick in the 60s, 70s, and 80s was a huge car. And they were just big. Now Buicks kind of look like every other car. But back in the day, the Buick was huge. So that's the joke. All right. So because you could have just said, that's a Ford, that's a Chevy. No, the reason he says that's a Buick is just because of how big it is, because the Buicks were huge during the 80s. Jean Grey says, don't worry, Bobby, it's only your first try. It's nothing my telekinesis can't handle. Over to you, Cyclops. On it, Marvel Girl. Okay, so she is still called Marvel Girl. All right. Just have to raise my visor, and my force beam will do the rest. Jean's right, Iceman. All you need is time to get your powers back under control. So, this is Skids. She was a mutant that they took in. As to, real quick on X Factor, again, I encourage you to go to that link. They were posing as mutant hunters for taking them in. Okay, so they portrayed that they were mutant hunters, but it was, like I said, to take them in and teach them, kind of like to start. At this time, Professor X was not with the X-Men. He was over with the S.H.I.E.L.D. So the X-Men were too busy being superheroes to raise, to educate. Magneto was the head of. It's complicated. Magneto was the head of the Xavier School, And the guys at X Factor didn't trust him because, of course, Magneto was a villain, or they thought he was a villain, but then he wasn't a villain at that time. But then he, of course, pro wrestling and comic books are the same thing. Bad guy today, good guy tomorrow. So, and then back to bad guy, back to good guy. So, that's what X Factor was supposed to be. So, all right. So here comes Skids and say, guys, the ready light's still blinking out there, but this is kind of important. Is it safe? Sure, Skids, we have some falling moisture, but it's otherwise okay. I hadn't heard of any precipitation predictions about rain indoors. Good old force field, better than an umbrella. So that was her mutant power. She could get a force field around herself. What's so important, Skids? I checked out that call like you asked, psych. The one from Dick Terrence out in Sparta, Illinois. Wire service reported. I cannot believe we still had wire service in the 80s. But there was no internet. There was no email. So, wire services reported that a building really did collapse out there, just like Terrence said. No reason was given, and there was no mention of a green monster, at least in official reports. And Jean Grey says, that doesn't mean anything, though. All right, Jean and I will check it out. And Iceman says, hey, wait, I'm coming, too. There's two more people who are not kind of in this issue that are members of X Factor, and they are the Beast and Angel. So this adventure is just going to have the three of them, but the Beast is there. Also, I'm a huge fan of Peter David, and Peter David will eventually be he's one of my favorite writers. He's probably my top 20, and he's really going to find himself throughout the Hulk. So this is very early on, but Peter David does have a very good lengthy run on the Hulk, and I hope to get through all of them. It's going to take a while, but all right. Bobby, you don't have to prove anything to us. It's not for you. I'm doing it for myself. I've got to get a hold of my ice powers again. It's my responsibility and no one else's. And I'm not going to do it hiding out here at our headquarters when X Factor is needed. All right, Bobby, if you're sure, says Jean Grey. And then he thinks, of course I'm not sure. Of course I'm sure, he says. So, I like, you could almost imagine what Todd McFarlane would be doing if he was inking this himself. So, we're back in Illinois, and Bruce Banner's kind of getting up. He goes, this was extraordinary kind of you, Dick, pulling me in from that alley like that. Most people would have just left me lying there. I've been around. Very few have showed me the sort of kindness you have exhibited. Though he might not be so kind if he knew I was the Hulk, he thinks. And then he's thinking other stuff, like, I wish he'd stop saying that, like, things like that. He makes me feel like a first-class creep. I mean, mutants are supposed to be inhuman monsters. This guy's about as threatening as Woody Allen. For those of you who don't know who Woody Allen is, Google him. There's some clothes on the chair for you. Coffee, Bruce? Any decaf? That's all I drink. Wuss. Hey, me too. I hate that stuff that makes me nervous. Same here. Old habit. What the heck? The inhuman monsters. Caffeine is great. Here you go, Bruce. By the way, what's your last name? Ross. Bruce Ross. And so he sees the cup that says Cubs. Cubs fan? A friend of mine, Rick, is a big Cubs fan too. You got a lot of friends? He asks. Friends, a wife, but things keep coming up, keeping us apart. Geez, a wife. Any kids? No children. And there's a knock on the door. And they're like, coming. It's X Factor, I knew it. And me feeling like a Judas. And you can see him tossing the... I know what he turned into, but for pity's sake, he's got a wife. Who am I to? And then It's a woman here named Melanie. He says, Melanie, hi, hon. So Dick says, Mel, this is a cousin of mine. And then she interrupts and says, that's nice. Dick, can we talk too? Can we have a talk privately? And Bruce is like, I can leave if. And Dick says, no, you stay put. We'll walk around for a little bit. Then I'll be back. You get some rest. And then Bruce is like, if you're sure, by the way, what town is this anyway? And he says, Sparta, Illinois. And he thinks, well, that accounts for the Spartan living conditions. So he says, Mel says, your cousin doesn't know what town he's in. And Dick says, he's very confused. He's not the only one. Look, Dick, there's no good way to say this, but by the way, McFarlane is great at doing vertical panels. This is a trope of his, of him and Matt Wagner are the best at vertical panels that are out there. So, love the cat in the tree and this person trying to get him. The test came back positive, didn't it? Uh-huh. So what do we do now? And Dick says, we get married is what? I mean, it's my kid too. It's my responsibility, right? So, Dick, you're so sweet, but how are we going to live? Our jobs at Sears don't pay near enough to support a family. Oh, Sears. I got a few irons in the fire. Believe me, money won't be a problem at all. Now give me a hug, future Mrs. Terrence. So, and he ponders, well, that's it. I'm really committed to turning Bruce in. It's more than just me now. I've got a responsibility to Mel and to the baby, but I feel like a grade A creep. I'm turning somebody in for money. What does that make me? And then he's like, probably exactly how I feel. And so, back at the apartment. Yes, it's good to hear your voice too, Clay. And Clay says, we were getting a bit concerned about you, Bruce. After all, you went into town close to 2 weeks ago and we haven't seen you since. But hey, no big deal. Where are you? Well, we'll come get you. Rick Jones, he's around. Sure, I'll get him if you want to. Anything for you, Bruce. And then Bruce says, something's wrong. Nothing I can put my finger in, but Clay sounds strained, almost as if, Rick, hello? And Rick's like, hey, if it isn't Robert Bruce Banner, how you doing, Bob? And then, look, he's being surrounded by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Everything's fine here in beautiful New Mexico. They want you back, no questions asked. Sure, I'm sure, Bob. I mean, it's not like I got 5 scowling S.H.I.E.L.D. agents surrounding me or nothing. He says. All right. Rick never calls me Bob, always Bruce or Doc. He's trying to warn me, tell me something's wrong. He's trying to tell me not to come back, but how can I not come back? Bruce, Clay Quarterman here again. Look, you must have missed my earlier questions. Just where are you? I'm not quite sure, Clay, but my best guess is Seattle, Washington, he says. Can't believe even in the 1980s they can't trace the call, but... So we are in the St. Louis airport, and X Factor has this huge airplane. Never ask how you get your money. Now, I know Warren Worthington, who is the angel, is kind of springing for all this, but still, that's a ton. And they're like, wow, that plane, it's a bowling alley. Yeah, doofus, that's X Factor, the mutant hunters. Gonna kick some mutant tail, I betcha. You hear that, Scott? That stuff really burns me. And Cyclops is like, it's all part of the cover, Bobby. We knew that going in. And so we're going to get a bit of a kind of what X Factor is and all that stuff. So, yeah, well, now we're in it. It's really starting to get to me, this whole X Factor gig. We come on like Nazis, like mutants are the disease and we're the cure, to quote Sly, meaning Sly is Sylvester Stallone. I think the harm we're doing far outweighs the good. And so I kind of have to agree with Bobby, Scott. Sure, we've helped kids like Skids and Boom Boom, but at what cost? I hear what you're saying. I hate to admit it, but I've been thinking about it myself. But how can we change now? Easy, by coming across as a helpful organization rather than a bunch of tough guys. Yeah, make it clear that the mutants are not the threats, just misguided. Again, vertical panels. Like it here. Right, exactly. And we're going to guide them as it is. People think any mutant we find are immediately executed. It'll work, Scott. Let's just try a softer, more easygoing approach. Ditch the whole stormtrooper attitude. All right, people, we'll give it a try. How bad could it be? And they arrive at Sparta. Honey, I'm home. Just kidding. Bruce, hey, I brought some stuff for dinner. Hope you're hungry. And then he realized, oh no, he's gone. And so he went for a walk, is what happened. This is just what I needed to clear my head. Brisk walk, just like an ordinary person. But here's the funny thing. Nighttime is coming, and why would Hulk... I understand we're trying to tell a story, but you think Bruce Banner would be in a bit of a more hurry, like what's going to happen when the sun goes down. So he's feeling a little bit, because his life is far from normal here. So, of course, an ordinary person doesn't have such problems as to whether or not to return to Gamma Base, or if Rick's in trouble, how can I not help him? And Betty, and I'm most concerned about her having a vague recollection of being with her and then turning into the Hulk. I pray she's all right. She has to be. I couldn't live with myself if I hurt my wife. He says as he's kind of hit with the basketball. Then again, it's not myself I'm worried about living with. It's the Hulk. Here you go, boys, as he gives them the basketball. So he kind of ponders some more. We're not going to read all that, but I love the McFarlane esque panel as he's, like I said, he's trying to find his own way here. And there's a knock, and he's like, oh, he's back. Attention, Sears employees, and a Kenmore. So, hey, you gave me a real scare, he says, thinking it's Bruce. Did we? We're sorry. Hi, we're X Factor. We were hoping we could chat with you and the fellow you believe is a mutant. Oh, yeah, but first, let's talk price, he says. I'm afraid I don't understand, Mr. Terrence. Price, my finder's fee, my cut. Oh, for pities. We're talking about people here, Mr. Terrence. You can't barter for someone's life. Oh, man, why can't we be ditch diggers or something, says Iceman. Love that. Looking up, like, desperation. If there is a mutant in there, he's probably scared, frightened. We want to help him, not buy him. Have some human compassion, Mr. Terrence. Yeah, I got compassion, but there's something I don't have. And what would that be, says Jean Grey as she kind of barters in. And so, I don't believe this. You just let him wander off? He needs our help. Think, where could he be? I don't know, anywhere. I'm sorry, I started this, okay? And Iceman is like, all right. He's gonna walk out. All this distance for nothing still. I hate to admit it, but part of me is relieved. Despite what I said to Gina Scott earlier, the thought of using my ice power gives me chills. Wish I at least knew somebody in this burg, then this thing wouldn't be a total waste. Hey, wait a minute, is that? No. And then he's like, yeah. And so, hey, Dr. Banner. And then Bruce turns around here. That's what this is. Oh, no, the uniform's different, but it's got to be S.H.I.E.L.D. They traced the call somehow. And he takes off running. And so, I can't let them take me back, not until I get all this straightened out in my mind. Hey, wait, come back. Bobby, what is it? Bruce Banner, I swear it was. And then Dick says, yeah, Bruce, that's him. It has to be the guy. But you said he was gray. The Hulk is green. How? Look, we got to get this sorted out, but the only way to do it is to catch up with Banner. And so, suddenly, Dick is like in thing. He's like, whoa, what's happening? And Jean Grey says, my TK, meaning telekinetic power, is keeping our bounty hunter off our backs. Now burn rubber, Scott. And so Bruce jumps ahead of a train. The passenger van follow me. Has to be then. I'm lucky. If they came in full force, they'd have me. Still, as it is, I'm hardly in the clear. Only chance, dangerous as it is. And so he gets past the train. I did it. The train. It looks like he already passed the train, but he must be going the other way. Okay. I did it. The train. Deafening. It's pounding in my head. No, it's not the train. Good Lord. I lost track of time. It's... And they're like, ridiculous, Scott. If the man is that desperate to avoid talking to us, leave him be. After all, we've been hounded enough in our life not to do it to someone else. I read he was separated from the Hulk, so Banner himself isn't a threat anymore. I still think there's something wrong, but if you're certain, never been more. Besides, we probably couldn't even find him. Our mutant tracking equipment won't pick him up, and visually, we'll never spot him. The sun's just set. And so, Scott, the train, something pulled it off the track. And they're like, so we got to look at it over here, even though we can see. No, it can't be. It's... And then, trouble. Love these. You can see, I mean, the McFarlaneisms are starting to... Big trouble, you morons. The biggest, says Hulk. So you're from S.H.I.E.L.D., huh? Out, people. Out of the van. Move. Well, shield yourself from this. Thanks for the telekinetic hustle, Genie. Man, that rental car people will be ticked. One warning, S.H.I.E.L.D. You're lucky. I usually don't give warnings, but I'm in a good mood. And Jean Grey says, he's leaping away. And was that creature really the Hulk? I'm not sure, but whatever he is, we have to stop him. And so Scott uses his optic blast and hit him. And he falls down. Love the fact that it's not a full moon. So, great. We try going in as laid-back X-Factor to wind up having to fall back on the Exterminators bit. Exterminators are the opposite of... they're the enemies of X-Factor, even though they're the same friggin' people. No choice, Bobby. We have to get him out of the building before he hurts someone. Well, well, Banner was wrong. You're not S.H.I.E.L.D. You're the X-Men. And so Scott says, we're not the X-Men anymore. We're Exterminators. We all changed, don't we, Hulk? Yeah, X-Men Exterminators. Well, it really doesn't matter, because now you'll be in. He grabs the wall. Extinct. And Cyclops hits him again with the optic blast. Iceman, Marvel Girl. I'll keep him off balance. Outflank him. We have to contain him. And Hulk is like, contain me, ha! He's throwing machines around like missiles. Fall back, says Iceman. Iceman, buy us some time. Don't worry. An ice wall should. Holy cow, it's twice as thick. When'll I get it under control? Don't knock it, Iceman. I know, but the ground's trembly, and so... It's a roller from the printing press. Scatter. I can't stop it, but I can slow it down some. This is insane. He's absolutely vicious, says Marvel Girl. So Cyclops says, Marvel Girl, are you okay? And her nose is bleeding. She's like, nosebleed. Happens when I push myself. All right, so Cyclops hits him again with the optic blast. Whoa, caught him mid-leap. Lucky. But our luck won't last long. And so, where'd he go? Don't say we split up and look for Sam Psych. I'm not ready for that, says Iceman. And the Hulk's above, watching them. You ready for this? As he jumps down. Come on, make your move already. I don't have all night. Bah, I figure you'd freeze. And knocks Iceman out. But you, girlie, you're the dangerous one. You got a power I can't see. I don't know how strong you are, so let's find out. And so... That's all you do? Wave your hands and scrunk your face? Well, wish away. I'm sorry. I don't wish away, useless. And Marvel Girl's like, Cyclops, my telekinesis won't hold him back any longer. And he uses his optic blast. Can't fire right at him without hitting Jean. Have to aim it this just right. So you can see that it bounces to very few places. I like how this was all constructed. So he's gonna hit that paper roll stacks. Look out. And he hits them, and they all fall down on him. And Cyclops is yelling at everyone, "The Hulk, run!" And he's like, "That's right, run as fast and as far as you can, because I've had it. Hulk, please, none of this is necessary. Just calm down. We're friends," says Cyclops as he fires at him. "You still don't get it, do ya? You got no idea what you're messing with. No idea what you're facing. No idea what you're messing with. You still think I'm that cuddly monster who loved baked beans and puppy dogs. He's dead, Cyclops. I'm here now, and your I-beams are getting weak, and I almost got my hands on ya." And so, Iceman is freaking out. He's like, "I can't let him hurt Cyclops. I can't." And he uses his powers, which of course are not under control, and just freezes that whole place. "Oh, brother, clear everyone out." When he breaks out there, and they're like, "I don't think so. He was really straining at the end. He really has changed. He's not as strong as he was, but what he lacks in strength, he makes up in sheer savagery. We're lucky people. Bobby," and he's like, falls down. He's beat. And Hulk is like, "Got to break out, get angry, but so cold, colder than I should be. How? Can't think, can't. My whole body's getting numb. This cold you made is incredible, Bobby. Hey, why are you defrosting?" "Because I'm scared that if I don't, I'll be stuck, iced for good," he says. So, come this guy's. "Hi there, I'm Bob, Craig, and Phyllis, and I just wanted to say thank you for saving our lives." And, Bobby doesn't want his face seen because he doesn't want to blow his ID. "Yeah, no sweat. Looks like we got the Hulk on ice. What are we going to do with him?" And Cyclops says, "We contact Banner's last known base of operations, Gamma in Mexico. We have to, Bobby. Our facilities can't hold him. He's just too dangerous. And besides, don't you think the authorities have already been informed?" "Nuh-uh, he was running for S.H.I.E.L.D. For some reason, we can't." And so, they're going to have just a conversation, but, Cyclops essentially says, "I hope that they're doing the right thing." So, and of course, S.H.I.E.L.D. is already known, and these guys say here, "Excellent, Clay. Send as many people as it takes. This is your chance to finally end the menace of the Hulk. I trust we're of one mind in this matter." "Absolutely. I know where my responsibilities lie." So, get out. So we are going to be looking at Hulk 337 from 1987. We are continuing through Peter David's incredible Hulk run. I have other various Hulk runs done. I have the John Burns run. I actually have a Hulk playlist. So I have some of the Al Milgram stuff. I didn't cover it in detail, just kind of gave a synopsis. So feel free to check it out. My goal was to get to Peter David's run. And so we are in the beginning, in the infancy of Peter David's run. I hope to cover the entire run. So, first off, we had a little mistake right here. This actually should have been the color of the background, but it looks like they had a little coloring snafu. So, we are featuring Todd McFarlane is still not doing the covers. So we have X Factor. So we're going to pick up where we left off, but very good cover. So McFarlane is starting to come on his own as a penciler. He's, like I said, he's still not an inker, or not inking himself at this time. And so we have Betty's ex-boyfriend Ramon here, which we have already met. Like I said, I have a playlist. And Ramon says, "Nice breeze today. Betty, come on. let's not have this take forever, huh? Time is money, babe. Besides, it's not like they're checking you out of the hospital. We're sneaking out. The longer we stand here. If you're nervous, Ramon, I can wear a disguise, Betty says. Nah, you look fine. So you can see Betty looks pretty beaten up. Now, I know what you're thinking when you see her beaten up like this. Ramon is beating her up. She is not. He is not. Ramon, this is her injuries that she sustained by the Hulk. Okay, so this is not Ramon beating her up. Okay, so I just know that it looks like it because we just haven't seen her in a little bit. So again, Ramon says, "Nah, you look fine. Hold on, I want to leave Bruce a note." And Ramon's like, "A note? Oh, Madonna. Babe, you don't owe Bruce Banner anything. After what he did to you, he doesn't deserve a note. He deserves a knife in the ribs." So you can see here, she's leaving him a note. "He's my husband, Ramon. Besides, he didn't mean to hurt me. I know you keep telling me he wasn't himself. But tell me this, babe. If Bruce Banner wasn't himself, then who was he?" Now, I want to turn back up here when they keep saying, "Nice breeze today." You don't say that unless you're going to have to do something with the breeze, which, of course, was the whole point of it. Comic book 101. So, and you can see here, "My dearest Bruce." All right, so we have the Hulk and Iceman engulfed him in ice because he's not able to control it. So Cyclops is here. Now, gonna make a long story short. This is Cyclops from the original X-Men in the 80s. He left the X-Men. The original X-Men formed a group called X Factor where they portrayed themselves as mutant hunters. They were trying to basically get all these mutants so they could train them the same way Professor X trained them. But they used the cover of X Factor, which was hunters, and then they were the exterminators, in which they were themselves fighting X. It was convoluted. Regardless, this is through the beginning-ish, middle-ish part of X Factor. So Louis Simonson had probably just started taking over the writing. Walter Simonson had just started taking over the penciling. So this is kind of where we're at. So Cyclops is here concentrating. He is trying to give the Hulk a nice breathing room because he is completely engulfed in ice. Here we have the lettering. I'm not too keen on the title lettering here. Looks, I don't know. It looks electronic. Doesn't have that nice, I don't know what you'd call it, just human quality. So, again, Todd McFarlane's not inking himself, but he will for a few issues. So, I did it. I drilled an air hole for him. Bobby's super cold ice may have completely numbed the Hulk, but he still has to breathe. Todd McFarlane is already starting to get the Hulk a little bit even more with the brow, with the nose. So we're going to get a recap of last issue. I'm not going to go through that recap because I've already covered the issue. So we basically or you can basically go into the playlist and look at it if you haven't seen it. So Cyclops has called S.H.I.E.L.D. and Marvel Girl says, when did those hotshot spy types say they'd be here? And Cyclops says, I'm not sure, Marvel Girl. They're coming from New Mexico, after all. I'm certain they'll get here as quickly as they can. So only 3 members of X Factor are here. Of course, we are missing the Angel, who I could be Archangel at that time. I don't know where in the X Factor. I know it's in there somewhere because they're still wearing their fur. So that we haven't had the apocalypse um, era yet. So and then we're missing the Beast. So and so we have the Hulkbusters going here. We're moving as fast as we can, Larroquette. Keep your chair on, okay? Can you blame me, Quartermain? Saunders and I are anxious. We want to get to Sparta before S.H.I.E.L.D. wusses on us again. There's a little danger of that, Larroquette. My instructions are quite specific. Kill the Hulk, period. And so Larroquette asks, and his human half, Bruce Banner? Expandable, Saunders. Expandable. Sorry. I thought Saunders was the white guy. Larroquette is... sorry. It's hard to know where the bubbles are going. So... Excellent. Saunders was hospitalized for 2 weeks, and I'm still in this chair thanks to Banner and his gamma ray creatures. I have no sympathy at all. You tell him, Rocky. And so... Clay Quartermain here. First of all, I really love the shadow in the face here. So he thinks, yeah, Larroquette, tell me how great all this is. Then tell me why I feel so dirty inside. I know what the S.H.I.E.L.D. Council expects. I know where my duty lies. But part of me keeps screaming, this is wrong. How can you do this to Bruce? And Betty, what would Betty say if she knew what my orders were? And of course, we still have my dearest Bruce here. So we got a bunch of gawkers looking. He sure is one ugly looking thing. No, he sure is one ugly looking thing. Okay, are they sure he can't get out? And so Marvel Girl is like, Scott, this is ridiculous. We've been waiting for 2 hours now. S.H.I.E.L.D. should be here. Let's just go. And Cyclops says, and if the Hulk breaks free after we leave, we can't chance it. And so Marvel Girl says, maybe so, but I feel like we've been waiting around for the Lion to show up so we can stick our heads in his mouth. I'm getting some food, Bobby. You want anything? And he says no. So, look, Scott, we're taking a real risk here. We're not here as X Factor, the mutant hunters. And so she's sending some 50 cents for the snack bin. We're here as the exterminators. As far as the government's concerned, we're as popular a topic as Contra fundings. 80s stuff. The Iran-Contra. Look it up. It's on Wikipedia. And S.H.I.E.L.D's a government agency. I know that we're trying to bolster popular acceptance for mutants, but isn't this asking for trouble, she says? Perhaps, but our Gestapo tactics as X-Factor help foster the anti-mutant attitude. It's our responsibility, I know, she says. Coax Worm, let's see if I can... And so he tries to make her a little cold. You know, because he's in ice form, everything will feel warm to him. It just... He'd have to be in his human guise for him to be able to tell, because everything's going to be warmer, because he's ice. So, I'll never get my ice power under control at this rate. Toss the soda, Iceman. Company's here, so you can see here. Cyclops, Exterminator. Clay Quarterman, S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel Girl, Pisces. It's a trope of Peter David to insert jokes. And so here comes Saunders. Hey, Rocky, they got an air hole cut for it. I'll give it a hole in the gut. And Clay Quarterman says, Saunders, I let you take that laser cannon from Ordnance over my better judgment. Wave it around again and I'll make you eat it. What's your problem, Quartermain? We gonna kill it, ain't we? And he's like, will you shut your... Agent Quartermain, what's all this about killing the Hulk? We can't be a party to that. What's the matter, Exterminators? Problem with living up to your name? Ignore them, gentlemen and lady. These are civilian advisors, which means we can ignore their advice. We'd like to debrief you, and Colonel Fury would probably like to thank you as well. Well, Psych, in for a penny, in for a pound, Iceman. Cyclops, if you could help chisel the Hulk out of there, we want to airlift him to Gamma Base. We'd also like you to accompany us. And so they get him trapped. Of course, he's got his eyes closed. So we know what's going to happen. You don't show stuff unless you're going to use them. So, hey, Quartermain, if the ice thaws around the Hulk, it might break out. Iceman's in the cargo hold, making sure that doesn't happen, Saunders. And stop calling it the Hulk. And stop calling the Hulk it, or I'll pop you. So Iceman's like, I got a bad feeling about all this. I know Scott's doing what he thinks is right, but this whole setup seems fishy. I gotta talk to Nick Fury when we get there. He's the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's a straight shooter. But how do I know Fury will be there? How do I know they really won't kill you? They can't. Bruce Banner's buried somewhere inside. We can't let them pull anything over on us. We've got to go into this with our eyes wide open, which of course they are open. And again, my dearest Bruce. So we're now in the Gamma Base. You can start to see McFarlaneisms. You can almost see, he's not inking himself, but you can start to see that those pencils are really tight, how he kind of wants it inked. So before he just kind of went with whatever. Now he's starting to really tell the inker. You can definitely see those pencils are real tight. So at the Gamma Base in New Mexico, Rick Jones, you're looking depressed, but you're fortunate, young man. You have a genuine psychiatrist on hand to shrink your brain. And Rick says, "Oh, hi, Doc Samson." That's it. Hi, Doc Samson. Not even your usual "What's up, Doc?" Guess not, Rick says. Don't mind me, Doc. I guess I'm worried about all the typical stuff someone my age is worried about. Like, what's going to happen to my best friend now that everyone knows he's the Hulk again? So Rick Jones says, I guess it had to come out. With Bruce's long absence and the Hulk's recent reappearance, you don't have to be an Einstein to tumble into it. What's going to happen to him, Doc? And Samson says, Rick, if I could see the future, I wouldn't be a psychiatrist. I'd be a stockbroker or a bookie. I know you blame yourself for much of what's happened, but you can't eat yourself up over the past. Just be concerned about the present and let the future take care of itself. And so Rick says, Doc, look down there. They got him. Hey, Saunders, you hear anything? Like what? Like cracking. And you can see the ice starting to crack. And everyone's like, oh, shit. And Hulk gets out and he says, all right, who gets smashed first? Great panel here. Just nice. Very nice. McFarlane's already starting to do the panel rearrangement. I mean, you can just see the future here. So Hulk picks up that vehicle. Oh, so you all want a piece of me, huh? Well, don't worry. There's plenty to go around. And Cyclone's like, Iceman, I thought you were reinforcing the ice on the trip. I guess I kind of forgot. And Cyclones is like, you forgot. And Hulk thinks here, that truck I tossed scattered them. I still feel groggy from that ice. Need some distance. So he's going to jump away. But Doc Samson has arrived. Hulk, it's me, Leonard Samson. Do you remember? And he's like, oh yeah, I remember. You're the one who says he's almost as strong as me. You know what almost means? Nothing. And he tosses him. And so Jean Grey says, Scott, this is all wrong. We can't match him pound for pound. We need something subtle. And Cyclops is like, subtle? With the Hulk? Like what? And she says, like this. And she uses her telekinetic to push or to close his eyes. My eyes. I can't open my eyes, says the Hulk. Whoever's holding my eyelids shut, knock it off. And of course, Marvel Girl gets out of the way. Get ready. Get set. Where are you? I'll tear you limb from limb. And so Cyclops hits him. Dr. Samson hits him. Brilliant, Iceman. And he says, bill me, okay? So, great panel here. And so Clay is meeting with the clandestine S.H.I.E.L.D. leaders or whatever organization in there. And so the Hulk's finally been busted. Quartermain, good work. Even if you did need the help of those mutants. I hope you're now prepared to dispose of him once and for all. And Quartermain's like, sir, what about Banner? At this point, he's no longer needed, Quartermain. It's taken a number of years, but the Gamma Bomb is finally perfected. Banner existed as our backup in the event we needed his expertise on the bomb. He's outlived his usefulness. The Hulk never had any usefulness to begin with. And another one says, Quartermain, I hope we can count on you to do what needs to be done. Friendships such as yours with Banners cannot get in the way of duty. And he looks down and says, yes, sir, I know what I have to do. I have to. And suddenly we hear the Hulk, get me out of here, as he's yelling. He's like, arr! And Iceman says, Hulk, you might as well stop struggling. The S.H.I.E.L.D. people said those are kinetic bonds. The more you pull against them, the more pressure you apply. Sorry, the more you pull against them, the more pressure you apply strengthens them. You're fighting yourself. Yeah, well, at least that's an enemy I can respect, says the Hulk. Love it. Not like you jokers bending over backwards to get in good with S.H.I.E.L.D. Brains like Martel and Hideko there, and you, Samson, but only I know what's going on. And Marvel Girl says, Hulk, S.H.I.E.L.D. just wants to help you. And he laughs and scoffs at her. Ha! S.H.I.E.L.D.'s totally corrupt. They're going to wait until I change back to Banner and then kill me. And Samson says, that's paranoia, Hulk. S.H.I.E.L.D., Gamma Base, the government, they all want to help Gamma exposure cases like yours. Ha! Now it is my turn to be cynical. The government does not help. Wake up and smell the coffee, Samson, yells the Hulk. If they're so concerned about gamma exposure, why are they still testing gamma bombs like the one that created a guy I met named Half-Life? Hulk, I don't know about this. Even if S.H.I.E.L.D. is corrupt, even if the government is making gamma bombs, which I doubt, why do you assume that they'd stoop to killing Banner? That's easy, because I'm totally corrupt. And that's what I would do, as he smiles. And so we see someone doing something here, carrying some stuff, and then pressing a button. So, at another place there, you're Agent Trump, Quartermain second in command. I'm Larroquette, Samuel J., Hulkbuster leader. Trump. That's funny. It's in the 80s. He wasn't even in politics, so. I expected you. You want to know when we're killing the Hulk? Good question. Quartermain's supposed to be arranging it. Now he's vanished. Poof. No, Quartermain, and now we've got a bunch of mutants running around. I should have expected that, but I didn't. I wish I could make it all I wish I could make all the mutants disappear. Poof. As I expected, I've been ordered to keep an eye on Quartermain and assume command if there's sufficient provocation. Hold on, as the phone rings. What? The mutants are demanding to talk to someone in authority? And they've got Samson backing them up? Have them report to C-Deck, Station 3. Tell them we'll make everything clear to them there. And so then the guy says, well, now certainly sounds like provocation to me, Larroquette, but then it's nothing less than I expected. And so meanwhile, and you see another pressing another button. So here comes Iceman. Hey, here guys, I bet this is it. And so they come in. Bet you're right, says Agent Trump. And so everybody's now very McFarlane-esque. It's really nice. Samson, I want you and the Hulkbusters over here. So you're the exterminators, eh? I've heard a lot about you. Seems you want to know our plans for the Hulk. You really shouldn't be asking questions. It makes us doubt your loyalty. I'm afraid we may have to take care of that permanently. Samson, where do you think you're? And so Samson goes in between the two columns and very biblically, he pushes them out like Samson in the Bible. Oh no, oh yes, I may have been as blind as my namesake was, but I can still smite with the best of them. Run, 'cause this place is about to tumble down. And so, Hulkbusters, Rick, we're out of here. And so Cyclops is like, hurry up, the ceiling's coming down faster than we can catch the debris. And Larroquette's like, Samson, you're mine. Well, if it isn't the jawbone of it. Uh-oh. And Larroquette laughs. Ha! Dig your way out of that, Sigmund Freud. I haven't read some of these issues in probably 25 years. I have them. I have each of them. But man, oh man, it is so cool. So the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are going after them. There they go. And so, Bobby, now would be a good time to... Gotcha, psych. Hey, S.H.I.E.L.D., chill out, as he tosses them or shoots his ice powers at them. And so, meanwhile, again, we're just seeing buttons being pressed. Bobby, do you have enough of a handle of your power to free the Hulk? And Iceman says, hope so. And Cyclops orders him and says, Iceman! He's like, I'm on it. As they're fighting. Great panel here. Rick punching that dude. Hulk, go now. He's all smiling. That was dumb. I think you forgot you got me into this. It's time for some crushed ice. The Hulk's loose. Kill it. They yell. That voice. You're the one who wanted to put a hole in my gut back in Sparta. You're a dead smart guy. And Saunders like, you threatening me with icicles, you stupid freak? I don't threaten. And he hits him. Ah, my shoulder. And, oh, I forgot her name. I think it's Professor Takata. Hold on, Saunders. There, it's out. I suggest you do the same. And he runs out. And Hulk makes a way out. He's like, this way. And Cyclops is like, no arguments here. And Cyclops shoots at Larroquette. I may have made a bigger mistake in my life than trusting S.H.I.E.L.D., but none comes to mind. And so, they get Rick Jones. He's like, Bruce, help! Bruce, help! And Hulk is like, sorry, no Bruce here. All right, Hulk, happy now? And he's like ecstatic. And you can hear bam, wham, crash, and Rick smiles. And he talks. And there's more where that came from. So, seconds later, here comes everybody. Made it outside. Now I can ditch the rest of you losers. And suddenly the sun is up. He's like, oh no, not now. Not yet. Banner's gonna screw up. Get us killed, please. And no, not the Hulk. I'm not the Hulk. I'm Bruce Banner. So S.H.I.E.L.D. surrounds them, and they're like, and now you're both dead. And so here's Agent Trump. And so, good morning, people. Nice day for an execution. We have orders to kill the Hulk. You muties will be unfortunate victims who got in the way. Regrettable. And suddenly, there's an explosion there. Trump, this is Clay Quartermine. Listen up. I won't be a party to this. I've just blown up an unoccupied section of Gamma Base. You have 3 minutes to get everyone clear before I blow up the rest of the base. That's it, Trump. Move it. 2 minutes, 53 seconds left. And so, here comes Quartermain. Come on, Cyclops, all of you. Get it in gear. And Cyclops says, thanks for the assist. Clay, right? Your name's Clay? Not anymore. Now it's Mud. As everyone's shooting at them, and he presses the buttons, and there's more. And so Cyclops says, you look like you're enjoying flipping those switches, Clay. And he says, just glad to see those bombs I planted are working. Good old American know-how. And Bruce says, Clay, good Lord, those explosions, what's happening? The base, all the work we were doing there, the equipment, you mustn't. And Rick says, don't sweat it, Bruce. Clay's just throwing a scare into them, a bluff. And Clay says, no, Rick, if Gamma is left standing, it will, with its armament and vehicles, will be caught inside of 24 hours. I'm sorry, Bruce. All of a sudden you see this gigantic boom. Good thing Trump listened to me. Clay Quartermain does not bluff. And so, thanks again for the Gamma base uniform. So now that we've got our rental car, we're on our way, says Cyclops. Do you have room for passenger, Cyclops? And Bruce says, Hideko, you're not coming with us? And this is, I think, Martel. He says, I don't think so, Bruce. The death, destruction, I've had my fill for this lifetime. And he says, I feel the same, mon ami. I must admit, I've developed a certain fondness for Hideko here, not to mention keeping my skin intact. It's time to say au revoir. I think that's how you say it. Au revoir. Sorry. I should be heard, I suppose, but I certainly understand. Goodbye then, Martel, Hideko, Godspeed. You too, Bruce, and watch your back. And so, where to, Psych, New York? St. Louis, Iceman. We have to retrieve our plane from the St. Louis airport. The only problem is, how do we fill the time driving from New Mexico to St. Louis? Oh, it's easy. Ready, everybody? 1,000,000 bottles of beer on the wall. 1,000,000 bottles of beer. So, there goes X Factor in the car. And so, Rick, Clay, and Bruce are in this little I don't know, a bus? We'll call it a bus for now. All right, Clay, let's go. S.H.I.E.L.D's going to be after us. We have to find the gamma ray bombs and stop production of them. We should have a full day. Betty, we have to go get her. I assume she wasn't on Gamma Base. Where is she? And Clay's like, oh yeah, about Betty. And of course, we got the note, my dearest Bruce. And so, this cleaning lady comes in. Wasted job, wasted life. And he goes, wasted paper. And throws that letter. Meanwhile, at the Gamma Bomb, Doc Samson comes out. He's like, air fresh. Heavens no. All of it. All gone. What a waste. The